None of them.
See, exactly, no crime, so nobody listens. Exactly, I just said that.
And it's just crazy to me.
Yep. She made that whole this arguing going on in the comment section. That's why I asked her if y'all pay attention, she didn't have no answer for me when I kept asking her
Well,
who's
everybody
arguing.
kept asking. They said it in the comment section. Who's
Who's
arguing?
arguing?
Yep. Because the whole live stopped. Because everybody in the comment was like, "Who's arguing? Who is she talking
Right.
about?"
Right.
And then she couldn't say nothing. She stopped talking. Because when you ask who's arguing, she couldn't say a word and didn't say a
Right.
word.
And then she tried to change it up, and I was like, no, you just said that they were arguing in the comments section. Who is arguing and what are they arguing about? I'm not going to go into all of that. Then why the fuck you bring it up?
Because she wanted to change the subject.
Right.
Her issue was me.
Yes. I feel like
was
it had
me.
to do with police.
And it all circles back to that's why I ain't want to say it. I ain't want to say it.
I don't know why not.
Blaze, do you understand the hatred that these people have for police? Yes. All of them?
I've told police this a million times. They don't have a hatred for her. It's not a hate. I mean,
a dislike.
Anything that she's done, that's their own personal issues. As far as I'm concerned, police has never even did anything to Ray.
Nope.
But that's not her point.
It's not about a hatred for me. It's about the fact that these people have an agenda, right? They have an agenda. There is a role that they're playing on this app, right?
Over here talking about these weird.
The biggest part of this is that they are using black people to exploit. They're exploiting black people using our trauma to get on this app, and that web is bigger than we think.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a voice that is challenging that.
That means that
It's
you don't care about the people because you don't care how we look to people. You don't care if racists see you coming on here being fucking.
I wasn't worried about nothing they were saying in that live because they couldn't come up and do nothing with me. Even when that woman tried to challenge me, talking about you don't want this with me. Woman, you can't even answer my questions. She's literally in there talking about, there's different forms of abuse that are acceptable. That's what she was saying. Like your own friend had to correct you. Like I don't understand. That woman right there is a danger.
Member of Escape, Don Juan.
Because there's no way anybody should be saying that. You talking about that was different between what Patrick did. What you mean he didn't touch his children? What the abuse is abuse.
Mm-mm.
Now, which one said that about Patrick?
Right. The one and the girl named Angel or whatever her name is.
The cop one.
Yeah, the cop lady or whatever she is. Then she gonna try to take me. You don't know the legal system like I know the legal system. I believe she's still in there.
She is.
Still in there.
She is.
As soon as I push back on her, Ray going, let me interject. Is that what, no, it's not what you're saying, right? But that's what you said. Then he gonna try to take me, well, he gotta get booked. He went through all that. He got the trial and pled guilty.
He did get booked. He pled guilty and he was convicted. What are you talking about, lady?
Well, he didn't touch his children. He touched his wife. So what are we talking about here? So the fact that he didn't touch his children, that makes it okay. Just the fact that he leave his children with strangers off of Facebook, that's not no form of abuse. All forms of abuse are wrong, no matter what they are. You sitting there trying to argue that crap with me. What is wrong with you? This a grown black woman talking about she's a pillar in her community, and I really wish I would let you ever talk to anybody in my community. You on mute, sis. Or I didn't hear you. We see your lips moving, but I can't hear you. Can y'all hear her?
Nope.
That's
My husband was still on the phone. I'm talking and he's saying hello, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But damn, I forgot what I was saying. Fuck it. That just threw me off.
well. I'm just saying, ain't nobody ever
Because I
gonna
really
argue
thought
with
I had
me
hung up the
about
phone with
abuse.
him.
Gonna tell me what a different forms of abuse. What he did is different. But
What happened to Sobe?
I don't know. He disconnected.
But yeah,
Abuse is
abuse is
abuse.
abuse. It really just doesn't. It's all wrong. It's all fucked up. It's all detrimental to the development of the child and the adult. Like, come on now.
But she over there saying that no child abuser should have a platform, but Patrick got his platform and she's okay with it. How does that make sense?
They're one
Who
sided.
said that? Who said that?
That angel lady. I don't know who she was. She was in there and bumping her gums about that. Man, like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
She was dead serious, then try to backpedal. Like, I can't.
And see, that's one of the reasons why I don't and I can't get on any of their lives, on their panels, because it's futile.
Chicago activists. Abuse is abuse. There is no right, less. This was least. Abuse is abuse. If you make that excuse, that's a dangerous rhetoric to have or say.
Why does they make me look like a white?
Why would you be okay
Like,
with downplaying abuse ever? I will never understand
that
that
is
from
so
anyone.
weird. That is so weird.
So, like I said, if y'all are saying that Silverback, if y'all want to play that stupid game, y'all saying Silverback shouldn't have no voice, shouldn't have no platform, shouldn't matter, then that goes for Patrick too, and that goes for King of Farts too, because they still lying about their charges. But
That
this man
goes for
came.
T. Nathan too.
Yep.
Abuse is abuse.
And so,
Financial abuse.
okay, so I gotta ask a question, right? Because this was brought up last night in the other live, right? The whole fact that they're saying, and I'm not defending Silverback. I'm just want to know because SA was brought up last night. Accusations of SA on his other daughter. Like, so I'm trying to figure out, like, where is the proof in that, and who gave who, like, why? How are you going to disclose her story?
Right. I said that earlier. Like, that's what really like
They don't
when
want
we
to
were
pay attention
listening
to
to
stuff.
that audio, I realized that nobody interrupted until she said that he was a child molester.
Yep.
Like, nobody said anything until she said that. And it's like, one, like No Cry Zone said, why didn't you lead with that? If that was true, if that were true, why didn't you lead with that, right?
That should have been
Because
the
that would
first
be
thing
something
you
that would seem like
And
something that you would be so upset about that would be one of the first things that come out of your mouth. But
and again,
right, if you really cared though, you wouldn't have never brought it to the app like this.
said.
and
You
Nope.
would have
again,
been somewhere trying to help this little girl get justice for her sexual assault. And if
and
that's not
again,
what she wanted, you wouldn't have said shit because it ain't your story to tell.
then why didn't you report it and turn him in so he could be, so the proper
Right.
thing could happen? And then if it
Right.
happened before you married him still knowing that.
Yep.
Well,
So
we
now,
all
which
know
is it?
abusers victims always side with their abusers. That's not something that's uncommon, but it don't make it right.
No, and we ain't got to tiptoe around it either.
Right.
We don't
Nope.
have to tiptoe. It's one thing if you're the sole abused. If you're the only one being abused, that's one thing. But when you turn around and you allow your children to be abused, you are an abuser too.
I ain't never think of it like
You
that.
are an abuser too.
Yeah, because you're allowing them to be abused
You're
by the
allowing
person
it.
you already
And like I said
know they
earlier, I
are.
spoke on all of this earlier. That's coming from a person that stayed married to this man for 2 years after my son was born. It
Right.
took him sitting on my chest, pinning me on the floor, beating me directly in front of my child for me to wake the fuck up. But all of that damage in those 2 years are not just the fault of my abuser.
Right.
Because not only was he hitting me, I was hitting his ass too. And I was
Yep.
sitting there allowing my child to sit in that the whole entire time.
See, that's a side of
I
it that
don't
people
deserve no empathy and sympathy for that if I'm not going to admit
to the trauma you
my
caused your child.
accountability in that.
Yep. Yep. The trauma that you brought onto your child.
Exactly. Because that is
Mm-hmm.
directly the fault of mine and my husband.
Yep.
And I can't just make him take it. If we're both at fault, how is only one of us going to stand accountable? His accountability can't count for mine. So just because he stood accountable for the abuse doesn't mean that I'm absolved from standing in my own accountability. My actions were still my actions. Just like hers are still hers. You knowingly exploited
Come on
his
up,
daughter's
Apple.
SA. You're no better than him. And the fucked up thing is that from both angles, it's caused by their own traumas.
Right.
If we are to believe that victims are broken people, what makes you think that predators aren't broken
But
people?
but here's my thing too,
That's
right?
how they become
If
predators.
if your plan,
That's my point.
if your goal was
We're-
to come on and tell your side of the story, you had no business bringing up his other daughter's trauma.
Right.
That was not a part of the conversation. That was blatantly a smear campaign.
That's not your story to tell, regardless. Regardless. That's just not your story to tell. Like, I can tell y'all my story of being a victim of rape, right? And having a son that is a product of rape. What I could never do is tell you my son's story of being a product of rape. That's
Yeah.
not my story to tell.
Because that's his story.
That's his story. And I would never
No,
try to.
no,
And
Cry
even though
Zone is saying that you want to come up.
and even
Yeah.
though his and even though his story entwines with yours, it's still his story.
Right. It's still his story. Like I said, I can only tell from the point of view of